First Contact and Deception. The Vexidian Empire's flagship, the Eternal Dominion, cut through the darkness of space like a predator stalking its prey. Its hull, a seamless blend of biomechanical components that pulsed with an eerie blue light, stretched nearly 5 kilometers from bow to stern. Supreme Commander Asgrath stood on the observation deck, his scaled skin reflecting the holographic display of a small blue-green planet rotating slowly before him. "This is the world your scouts discovered?" Asgrath asked, his forearms crossed behind his back as his vertical pupils narrowed with interest. Science Director Velis approached, her movements graceful despite the heavy ceremonial armor that marked her as one of the Empire's elite researchers. "Yes, Supreme Commander. The inhabitants call it Earth. According to our long-range scans, they possess rudimentary nuclear technology, have established a few small colonies on their neighboring planets, and their military capabilities are unremarkable." Asgrath's mouth twisted into what passed for a smile among his species. The Vexidians had ruled the galaxy for over 7 centuries, their bioorganic technology far surpassing anything developed by other known civilizations. Their warships could harness the energy of neutron stars. Their soldiers were genetically enhanced to withstand extreme environments. In their long history of conquest, they had subjugated over 300 species across 1,000 worlds. "Another primitive species to add to our collection," Asgrath mused. "Prepare the invasion fleet. I want control of their planet within 1 standard rotation." "There is something unusual about their communications network," Velis noted, manipulating the holographic display. "They broadcast openly across multiple frequencies, yet there are strange gaps in their transmission patterns that our analysts cannot explain." Asgrath dismissed her concerns with a wave. Primitive technology often has inexplicable flaws. Perhaps their engineers are simply incompetent. What the Vexidians couldn't know was that those gaps were deliberate. For decades, humanity had been aware they weren't alone in the universe. A crashed alien scout ship in the Atacama Desert had provided Earth scientists with evidence of interstellar civilizations and warnings about the Vexidian Empire's brutal expansionism. Deep beneath the Antarctic ice sheet, in a facility known only to a select few world leaders, General Helena Reyes stood before a massive circular table displaying a real-time holographic image of Earth's solar system. Red dots representing the approaching Vexidian fleet multiplied with each passing hour. "They've taken the bait," she said to the assembled military and scientific leaders from around the world. "Operation Sleeping Giant is now active." Dr. Kai Chen, head of the Quantum Defense Initiative, nodded. "Our surface-level technology has been carefully calibrated to appear several centuries behind our actual capabilities. The orbital defenses are ready to activate on your command." For nearly 50 years, humanity had been preparing in secret. The public space programs, NASA, ESA, CNSA, and others, were merely the visible face of Earth's technological development. The real advances happened underground, off-grid, and in stealth facilities hidden throughout the solar system. "Let them come," General Rice said. "Let them think we're easy prey." The Vexidian invasion began precisely as their military doctrine dictated. A small vanguard of scout ships followed by destroyer-class vessels designed to neutralize planetary defenses. They expected token resistance at best, perhaps a few nuclear missiles or primitive energy weapons. Instead, they encountered nothing. "No response from the humans," reported Tactical Officer Mzelik from his station on the Eternal Dominion's bridge. "Their global defense network appears inactive. Their military vessels remain grounded." Asgrath's mandibles clicked with satisfaction. They recognized the futility of resistance. "Excellent. Deploy the first wave of ground forces." 300 Vexidian troop carriers descended through Earth's atmosphere, targeting major population centers across the planet. As they reached the lower atmosphere, their sensors detected no missile launches, no scrambling of fighter jets, nothing to indicate the humans were mounting any defense. Then, suddenly, it happened. From oceans, mountains, and seemingly empty stretches of desert, concealed silos opened, not launching missiles, but releasing swarms, millions of microscopic drones that rose into the air like metallic clouds. Each drone, no larger than a grain of sand, contained a tiny quantum processor and a fusion-powered engine that defied the Vexidians' understanding of physics. Supreme Commander, Menzelik's voice rose in alarm. We're detecting unusual atmospheric disturbances around our troop carriers. On the tactical display, Asgrath watched in disbelief as, one by one, his troop carriers began to disappear from the screen, not exploding or crashing, simply vanishing. The cloud of nanodrones had engulfed each Vexidian ship, attaching to their hulls and synchronizing their quantum fields to create localized disruptions in space-time. The ships weren't destroyed. They were displaced, teleported into a holding dimension designed by Earth's quantum physicists. Impossible. Asgrath roared. No primitive species could possess such technology. Launch all fighters. Target their major cities. The second wave of the Vexidian attack fared no better. As their fighters entered Earth's atmosphere, they encountered another surprise. Gravity itself seemed to turn against them. Corridors of warped space-time channeled the fighters away from their targets, forcing them into predetermined zones where Earth's actual defense platforms waited. These weren't the conventional weapons the Vexidians had expected. These were gravitic cannons that fired concentrated beams of exotic matter, penetrating the Vexidian bioshields as if they weren't there. In the Antarctic Command Center, General Rise watched the battle unfold with grim satisfaction. Phase 1 complete. They've committed approximately 30% of their fleet. Activate Phase 2. Across the solar system, what had appeared to be ordinary asteroids suddenly came to life. These were Earth's orbital defense platforms, disguised and hidden in plain sight for decades. They powered up weapons systems that utilized principles of physics the Vexidians hadn't yet discovered, manipulating dark energy, creating micro-singularities, and generating fields that disrupted the very subatomic bonds holding the Vexidian ships together. Aboard the Eternal Dominion, chaos reigned. Half the bridge consoles had gone dark, their bioorganic components failing as some unknown energy permeated the ship's systems. We've lost contact with the entire fighter wing, reported Communications Officer Threll, her voice steady despite the panic spreading through the bridge. Destroyer Group 7 reports their propulsion systems are failing. Something is eating through their hulls. Asgrath gripped the command podium, his claws digging into the living metal. This is impossible. Their technological level was verified by our scouts. Science Director Velis rushed to a still-functioning console. Supreme Commander, I'm detecting energy signatures unlike anything in our database. These aren't primitive weapons. They're operating on principles that contradict our understanding of physics. Supreme Commander, Threll interrupted, we're receiving a transmission from the planet's surface. They're broadcasting on all frequencies. Show me, Asgrath demanded. The main view screen flickered, then displayed the image of a human female in what appeared to be a military uniform. General Helena Reyes gazed directly into the camera, her expression calm but resolute. Vexidian forces, she began, you have violated Earth's sovereign territory and attempted an unprovoked invasion of our home. The forces you've encountered represent a fraction of our defensive capabilities, what you might call our reserve units. Withdraw immediately, or we will be forced to deploy our actual military assets. Asgrath's scales flushed with rage. Reserve units, she's bluffing. No civilization could hide such advanced technology from our scouts. Velis studied her readings with growing alarm. Commander, I'm detecting unusual energy signatures throughout their solar system. Something is awakening. All across the solar system, stealth fields began to drop. Space stations that had been invisible to Vexidian sensors suddenly appeared in orbit around Mars, Venus, and the larger moons of Jupiter and Saturn. Hidden shipyards in the asteroid belt revealed vessels of designs that made the Vexidian bioships look primitive by comparison. By the first emperor, whispered Tactical Officer Mzelik, their fleet, it's massive. On the view screen, General Rice continued, for centuries, we've watched species like yours ravage this galaxy. We chose to hide our true capabilities, to observe rather than participate in your endless wars and conquests. That ends today. You have 1 hour to retreat beyond the orbit of Pluto. After that, we will consider your continued presence an act of war. The transmission ended, leaving the bridge of the Eternal Dominion in stunned silence. Asgrath's mind raced through the possibilities. Could the humans truly possess a military force greater than what they'd already demonstrated? Or was this an elaborate bluff, using holographic projections and staged weaponry to create the illusion of overwhelming force? As if in answer to his unspoken question, a massive vessel emerged from the dark side of Earth's moon. It dwarfed the Eternal Dominion, stretching at least 20 kilometers from bow to stern. Its surface was smooth and featureless, absorbing light rather than reflecting it. No visible weapons, no engine ports, nothing to indicate how such a massive object could move through space. Yet it accelerated toward the Vexidian fleet with impossible speed. Supreme Commander, Velus's voice had dropped to a whisper. That vessel's mass readings are inconsistent with its size. It's as if it's partially existing in another dimension. Asgrath stared at the approaching human vessel, feeling something he hadn't experienced in his 3 centuries of life. Fear. Signal the retreat, he ordered. All ships to regroup at Rally Point Omega. We need to report this to the Emperor. As the battered Vexidian fleet limped away from Earth's solar system, they received one final transmission from General Rice. Let your Emperor know. Earth has chosen to reveal itself to the galaxy. What you encountered today was our planetary defense force. Our actual fleet hasn't even entered the fight. Remember that before you consider returning. Across the galaxy, monitoring stations of 100 different species detected the retreat of the mighty Vexidian armada. The impossible had happened. The undefeated conquerors had been forced to withdraw from a world many had considered insignificant. And now that world had announced its presence to the stars in a way no one could ignore. Earth was no longer hiding. The reckoning. The imperial palace of Vexidia Prime sprawled across an entire continent, its bioorganic spires reaching kilometers into the sky. At its center, the throne chamber hummed with nervous energy as Emperor Daraxon Vitae paced before his assembled war council. The Emperor's 8-limbed form towered over even the tallest advisors, his iridescent scales shifting from deep purple to crimson with each surge of anger. Explain to me, Daraxon said, his voice deceptively quiet, how the mightiest military force in the galaxy was repelled by a species we classified as barely spacefaring. Supreme Commander Asgrath knelt before his Emperor, head bowed in submission. My Emperor, the humans deceived us. For centuries, they have hidden their true technological capabilities behind a facade of primitive development. Our scouts observed what the humans wanted us to see. The Emperor's tail lashed violently, cracking against the living floor. And you fell for their deception. 300 ships lost, thousands of our finest warriors displaced to some unknown dimension. The Empire has not suffered such a defeat in 7 centuries. Science Director Velus stepped forward, risking the Emperor's wrath. Your Magnificence, if I may, the technology displayed by the humans operates on principles we've only theorized about. Their manipulation of quantum fields, dark energy, and gravitational forces exceeds our own capabilities by perhaps 2 or 3 centuries of development. Impossible, roared Grand Scientist Thazik from his position among the advisors. No species could advance so rapidly without us detecting their energy signatures, their communications, their resource gathering. Yet they did, countered Velus. Our analysis suggests they have been deliberately containing their technological footprint, using methods that make their advanced activities indistinguishable from cosmic background radiation. Emperor Daraxon sank onto his living throne, which adjusted its form to cradle his massive body. What do they want? If they possess such power, why reveal themselves now? Why not remain hidden? Before anyone could answer, the chamber's communications array flared to life. A holographic figure materialized in the center of the room. A human male in a simple gray uniform, his face weathered with age, but his eyes sharp with intelligence. Greetings, Emperor Doraxin VI of the Vexidian Empire. I am Admiral Thomas Chen of the United Earth Defense Force. I trust your forces have retreated safely to your territory. The Emperor rose from his throne, scales now pulsing with indignation. You dare breach our secure communications network. You dare address me directly without proper diplomatic channels. Admiral Chen's expression remained impassive. When one attempts to invade our home, we consider the usual diplomatic niceties suspended. I come with a message and an invitation. Across the galaxy, similar scenes played out in the palaces, council chambers, and command centers of every major spacefaring civilization. Earth had simultaneously contacted the 17 most powerful species in the known galaxy, broadcasting its message with a clarity that cut through any attempt at jamming or interception. On the desert world of Carax, the hive queens of the Shkri collective watched the human transmission with their compound eyes. On the gas giant moons of the Talaxian Republic, elected officials gathered in emergency session as Admiral Chen's words echoed through their chambers. For 3,000 years, Chen continued, addressing not just the Vexidians, but the entire galaxy. Humanity has observed the stars. We learned early that we were not alone. We witnessed your wars, your conquests, your subjugation of lesser species. We saw empires rise and fall, alliances form and break, atrocities committed in the name of expansion and domination. In the Antarctic Command Center on Earth, General Reyes stood beside a wall of screens showing the reactions of each contacted civilization. They're receiving our transmission, she confirmed. All 17 powers are listening. Admiral Chen's holographic form continued its address. 2 centuries ago, humanity made a decision. We would not announce ourselves to the galaxy until we could do so from a position of absolute strength. Not because we sought conquest, but because we recognized that in this galaxy, only the strong have the luxury of peace. The hologram expanded, showing a 3-dimensional map of the galaxy with Earth highlighted at what appeared to be an insignificant position in one spiral arm. We appear isolated, vulnerable, Chen noted as the map zoomed out. But appearances can be deceiving. The map changed, revealing points of light scattered throughout the galaxy, thousands of them, pulsing in synchronization with Earth. For 200 years, we have established hidden outposts throughout the galaxy. Automated stations, stealth observation posts, and yes, military installations, all concealed using technology that renders them undetectable to your sensors. Emperor Doraxin's scales had paled to a sickly yellow. You claim to have infiltrated our territory. This is an act of war. No, Chen corrected calmly. This is an act of preparation. Had we wished for war, Emperor, we could have launched simultaneous strikes against every major power in the galaxy. Instead, we simply watched and learned. The map zoomed in on the Vexidian home system, revealing dozens of small points of light, human monitoring stations that had operated undetected for decades. In the Eternal Dominion, now orbiting Vexidia Prime, Science Director Velis frantically checked her instruments. He's telling the truth, she whispered to Asgrath. I'm detecting quantum signatures matching the Earth devices. They've been here all along. Throughout the galaxy, similar revelations shook the confidence of civilizations that had believed themselves secure. The humans had been everywhere, watching, waiting, preparing. Tomorrow, Admiral Chen announced, Earth will formally reveal itself to the galaxy. Our full fleet will emerge from stealth throughout the galaxy, not as a threat, but as a demonstration. You will see our true capabilities, and you will understand why we chose to remain hidden for so long. The message ended, leaving the Vexidian War Council in stunned silence. This cannot stand, Grand General Thazak finally snarled. "We must mobilize the entirety of our forces. If they intend to reveal themselves tomorrow, we should strike tonight. Show these humans the true might of the Vexidian Empire." Asgraf turned to his emperor, his expression grim. "My lord, I advise against such action. If the humans have been monitoring us for centuries, they will anticipate this response. They would not reveal themselves unless they were confident in their ability to counter any attack we might launch." Emperor Doraxin stared at the space where Admiral Chen's hologram had stood. For the first time in his 3-century rule, uncertainty clouded his thoughts. As promised, the next day brought a revelation that changed the galaxy forever. Throughout every star system, in perfectly synchronized precision, humanity's hidden fleet deactivated their stealth systems. Ships of impossible configurations appeared in formation. Vessels that seemed to phase between dimensions, stations that bent light around themselves, weapons platforms integrated so seamlessly with asteroids and moons that they appeared to be natural formations. On Earth, General Rice stood on the bridge of the UESS Prometheus, humanity's flagship that had remained hidden within a pocket dimension near Jupiter for decades. The vessel represented the pinnacle of human engineering, a fusion of technologies developed through observation of the galaxy's many species, refined and improved upon by human innovation. "Fleet status," she asked her executive officer. "All units report ready, General. 100% operational capacity. The galaxy is watching." Indeed they were. Across thousands of worlds, billions of beings witnessed humanity's true face for the first time. Through communications networks, through telescopes and sensors, they saw the extent of Earth's hidden power. In the Vexidian Palace, Emperor Doraxin watched with his advisors as human ships materialized throughout his empire, not attacking, not threatening, simply existing, having been there all along. "How did we not see them?" the Emperor whispered. "How could we have been so blind?" Admiral Chen's hologram appeared once more, this time broadcasting to every world in the galaxy simultaneously. "Today marks a new era in galactic history," he began. "For too long, this galaxy has been defined by conquest and subjugation. The strong prey upon the weak and call it the natural order. The Vexidian Empire conquers. The Kree collective assimilates. The Talaxian Republic colonizes and exploits." The Admiral's expression softened slightly. Humanity chose a different path. "We developed our technology not for conquest, but for defense. Not for domination, but for preservation. We hid our true nature because we saw what happened to species that revealed themselves before they were ready." The hologram expanded to show Earth, a beautiful blue-green world surrounded now by its unveiled defenses. "We do not seek to rule. We do not wish to conquer. But make no mistake, we will no longer hide. From this day forward, humanity stands revealed as a galactic power, and we extend this promise to all civilizations, great and small." Chen's voice took on a steel edge. "Any species that seeks peaceful coexistence will find in humanity a willing partner. Any species that continues to practice conquest, slavery, or genocide will find in humanity an implacable enemy. The age of unchecked imperialism ends today." Throughout the galaxy, reactions varied wildly. On worlds long oppressed by greater powers, celebrations erupted in the streets. In the palaces and fortresses of empire builders, war councils convened to assess this new threat. On the Kree homeworld, the Hive Queens debated whether to test humanity's resolve by continuing their ongoing conquest of a pre-spaceflight civilization in a nearby system. On Talax Prime, the Republic Senate voted to immediately withdraw colonial forces from 3 contested worlds. In the Vexidian Palace, Emperor Doraxin faced the greatest crisis of his reign. His advisors were split, half counseling immediate military response, half urging caution and diplomacy. "What do these humans truly want?" the Emperor demanded of Science Director Velis. "No species develops such power without ambition." Velis considered carefully before answering. Based on their message and actions, I believe they genuinely desire change. They could have destroyed us yesterday, yet they chose revelation over annihilation. That suggests their ambition is not conquest, but transformation of the galaxy itself. 3 days after humanity's revelation, a single human vessel approached Vexidia Prime, requesting permission to enter orbit. It carried Ambassador Maria Okafor, Earth's chosen representative to the Vexidian Empire. Emperor Daraxon granted the request, more out of curiosity than diplomacy. In the grand reception hall, surrounded by his full court, he awaited the humans' arrival. Ambassador Okafor entered alone, a slender woman whose dark skin contrasted with her white diplomatic uniform. She carried no weapons, no communications devices, nothing but a small metal case. "Your Imperial Majesty," she greeted with a precise bow. Not too deep, conveying respect without submission. "I bring greetings from Earth and an offer of peace." The Emperor's 4 eyes narrowed. "You speak of peace after threatening my empire, after infiltrating our territory for centuries." "We infiltrated to understand," Okafor replied calmly. "And what we learned troubled us deeply. 78 species extinct under Vexidian expansion. 312 worlds stripped of resources and abandoned. Billions enslaved." She opened the case, revealing a simple crystal cube that projected a holographic star map. "This is our proposal. A new galactic order, with clearly defined borders, neutral zones for trade, and protected regions for developing species." Emperor Daraxon studied the map with growing indignation. "You would limit our expansion, dictate terms to an empire that has stood for centuries." "We offer an alternative to eventual conflict," Okafor corrected. "Our analysis shows that within 50 years, current expansion patterns will bring the major powers into direct territorial competition. The resulting wars would devastate the galaxy. This proposal prevents that outcome." The Emperor's scales flushed with a rainbow of colors as conflicting emotions warred within him. "And if we refuse?" Ambassador Okafor's expression remained impassive. "Then humanity will enforce these boundaries ourselves. Not through war, unless absolutely necessary, but through technological and economic means. We've already begun establishing diplomatic relations with your tributary worlds. Many find our offer of protection compelling." The implied threat was clear. Humanity could unravel the Vexidian Empire without firing a shot, simply by offering its subject worlds a better alternative. As similar conversations unfolded across the galaxy, a new reality took shape. Humanity had accomplished what no other species had attempted, imposing peace through the perfect balance of overwhelming strength and measured restraint. 1 month after the revelation, representatives from over 500 worlds gathered at a neutral location, a massive space station humanity had constructed in intergalactic space, beyond the boundaries of any empire. There, the Galactic Concordat was born, not through conquest, not through domination, but through humanity's unique approach. Prepare for the worst while working tirelessly for better possibilities. As Ambassador Okafor addressed the gathered representatives, General Rice watched from the Prometheus, orbiting nearby. "Do you think it will last?" her executive officer asked. Rice considered the question, watching as former enemies cautiously engaged in diplomacy under humanity's watchful eye. "Nothing lasts forever," she replied. "But for the first time in galactic history, peace has a fighting chance." In the depths of space, humanity's hidden fleets remained vigilant, no longer concealed, but ready. They hadn't spent centuries preparing for war only to lower their guard now. The galaxy had seen only a fraction of humanity's true strength. The rest remained in reserve, a silent promise that the new order would endure. Humanity had finally taken its place among the stars, not as conquerors, but as guardians of a fragile peace built on the most human of foundations, hope tempered by preparedness, idealism balanced with pragmatism, and the unflinching will to defend what matters most.